you so much for being on our show. Our first topic, of course, will be the fourth China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo. So first, can you share with us what are the most significant gains during your trip in China?
The expo was really interesting, and this cooperation that I'm hearing through China-Africa partnership, it's really saying it's time to look at industrialization in Africa, manufacturing, because that's what creates jobs. You know, this is a very young continent with a lot of young people who are now better educated and connected, but you know, the economies are not generating enough jobs, and that's because Africa is not being able to add value to its raw materials. So the conversation in Changsha was really a lot about that.
And what results or outcomes you expect to achieve at this expo?
So I think the conversation this time around was not just about the hardware, you know, the infrastructure, roads and all of that, but the people side, a people-centered approach. And that's why UNDP is very keen on this emerging narrative around development cooperation that China, I think, is leading, which is that we need to look at the human development component of the partnership and ensure that we're having impact. When we spend money, it's having impact on populations, irrespective of where they are.
Actually, this expo focuses on many key areas like, green minerals, infrastructure sector. Signed 176 projects worth more than 11 billion. So, Ahuna, how would you see the roles of these projects in advancing the Africa's modernization, sustainable development, and economic transformation?
So these projects, our hope is that the design is such that it's not just country specific, but it's looking at those transboundary cross-border dynamics. Then of course there's the issue of inclusivity, which we care about as UNDP. Again, the idea that no one should be left behind, and if we're thinking of these mega projects, we think about the impact on communities. And so we emphasize a lot social and environmental studies to make sure that communities don't get compromised, their interests are not compromised, but also that they're the first line beneficiaries of the impact of this project.
Industrialization has always been the very key areas for China-Africa cooperation. So for better cooperation, what new measures you propose both sides to take in the future in areas like industrial training development and vocational training skills, etc.?
Not everyone has to go through a university model. You know, we have a lot of young people who need to build their skills at very low levels of schooling. So this concept of skilling the youth through vocational training centers is a very important approach for success, because unless you can build that human capital, it's going to be very difficult to succeed in this project. So vocational training, extremely important, investing in that, bringing financing capacity, technology to bear in that field. And this is discussed in Changsha. I was very happy to see that focus. But also the whole modernization issues. If Africa is going to be able to increase its trade potential, it has to be able to increase its productivity. And increasing productivity has to go with modernization, so that you are producing smarter and it's at scale. And this whole idea also that we need to make sure that there is energy access. Millions of people on the continent don't have access to reliable energy sources. So this is a criteria for success, being able to really invest in energy infrastructure, because without that you can't also have connectivity.
I know you also spoke highly about the China's development achievement, especially on the areas of the poverty alleviation. So in general, what aspect of Chinese approach that you think can be the transferable models for African countries?
Well, I think the focus on actually tackling poverty, extreme poverty, making that a priority is key, because you cannot prosper as a nation with millions of your people, suffering extreme poverty. So African countries need to prioritize that. Whatever they have to do, they must do, that every activity is directed towards lifting people out of poverty. This country lifted 800 million people out of poverty. That is extraordinary. But what China showed is that it's possible. And if China could do it, so can many African countries, right? So that's lesson number one. So the populations have to feel that trust, that the future is being built for them to actually crowd in their own intelligence and their own capacities in building the future. You know, government alone cannot build development. You need the people. And for the people to be included, their needs have to be met. So for me, I think that's one of the secrets that I've picked up. The other one is, of course, hard work. But hard work not for the sake of hard work with a purpose and a long-term view, and be consistent in terms of policy with that vision. I think that's what China has demonstrated. It's a long-term range and consistency and policy coherence. This is really critical for success.
Okay, Ahuna, my last question. Currently, under the context of global uncertainties and also revolution trend of digital area, so how do you think China and Africa can seize the new development opportunities to do better and cooperate more in the areas like digitalization and artificial intelligence, etc.?
We need global governance that secures and safeguards that space for everyone. So that it's not exclusive. China's role within the BRICS, it's very important, and I've heard during this trip initiatives that have emerged around developing a BRICS center for AI, for instance. I think that's a good beginning to start to, bring the wisdom, the experience, the knowledge, the technology of countries in this zone of the world, because it's different. The world has become very uncertain and we have protectionism, but I don't believe it's the death of multilateralism. I think that times are calling for a reshaping of multilateralism, and that's where Africa, China and others come in to get involved in really charting a new pathways for multilateralism that is much more inclusive, much more sensitive to everyone's needs, and that looks at prosperity as shared, not something for just a few, but also that tries to protect our planet for future generations.
Thank you so much, Ahuna.
Thank you.